So I'm going to go through how to basically create one of these templates or create one of these posts from a template. Um, and this is the whole file that you'll get, and all of these are their own group. And you can see on the right over here that each of them, they highlight when you click on them. That's how you can see where in the hierarchy they exist. So I'm going to use the strawberry banana smoothie as an example. And what you can do is just Control C to copy it, make a new layer, make sure you clicked on this layer, and just Control V to paste it. And you can just hide the old original layers. So now we have just the strawberry banana smoothie. And I'm shift clicking to scale it up so that it maintains its proportions. And if you expand this layer, you can see that this is the light template, and this is what this layer is, and this is the logo. If I click on the right here, this box, you can see the items highlighting. So this is the logo, and if I expand this, you can see that all of this is the text in here. And the fog layer is essentially the middle layer that you see that looks like the frosted glass. And the background layer is this clear layer here. And these are actually two separate images. It's two, I guess, instances of this image. And you have to change them in both locations. So the background layer, I'll change the background layer first. This is the mask that, and this is the original image. So if I hide it, you don't see any images. And then I come to this that I just found. I'm just gonna copy it. And so this is the image I want to replace. And if I just highlight this over here, because you can't really click on it in your workspace right now because it's hidden underneath all these layers. So if you click it here, you can right click, isolate selected image. So this is the image. And then what you can do is just Control V to paste this new one. And then what I did is just hide the old one. So it looks approximately like that. So what you can do is go back to background layer, and this is what it'll look like cropped. And you can select it once again to move it to an appropriate location. And if you just keep pressing back, it'll go back to the top layer. So we changed the background layer, and you have to do the same for the top layer. So one thing that I find is useful actually is, so this is a coffee image. I'm just going to copy this image instead. So the reason you want to copy this one instead of just use the old one you found is because this keeps the location information. So if I come up here to the fog layer and I want to change this one, click on this image, isolate, and then Control Shift V, it'll paste that in the exact location as the background layer is in. So you don't have to like manually try to line them up because they are separate images. If you move the background one, the front one will not move. So yeah, that's how you update the background images. And basically, if you want to come here, I'm just going to change this to, probably should have searched up a relevant coffee coffee blank type. And if you just press enter, it'll go to the next one. And whenever you want to get out of type mode, you can come up here to the up left to press the selection tool or press V on your keyboard to toggle it. So now I have coffee of blank type. You will need instead of frozen strawberries, we'll do coffee beans, and then B to get out of, not the coffee beans. Because I'm in type mode, I can't press B. So you come up here. And that's how you would change your text down here. Same with this one, and the way you would change the font and the appearance of the text is you can come up here. This is the font style, and you can scroll through all of these to see what they look like. And this one only has regular, but some of them they'll have like italics or thin, light thin, and bold, stuff like that. This one, and you can change the font size over here. You can make it real big. And this, if you have two layers, for example, I'll come up to coffee blend type. You have two lines of text. This decides like the spacing between them, so line height. And then this one is the space between the letters, so you can make it look prettier. Yeah, and that's essentially how you would make a new post, I guess. And if you ever wanted to add any new text or information, you can come up here to the take tool and just drag out blah blah and come up here like that. Another way, I'm just going to press delete to delete that, is you can just alt drag over here to just duplicate it and then type in whatever. Sometimes that's easier instead of trying to like get all the formatting correct. And if you double click, it goes into the layer. For example, this is in a group. And you can see that I'm in the light layer right now. If I double click into this, I'm now in the logo layer. So I can click on all these independently. So this is the text, the background, and this is also in a layer. You can see on the right that this is the group of the shakers, and there's just a bunch of the pieces in here. Okay, if you alt click on the arrow, you can like expand or shrink all of these. Okay, so how you would export this? Click on this main layer. So you select all the pieces. Go to export selection. So it'll sort of add this onto the new list. So these are the old previous ones that I exported. This saves every time or every session. So when you close this file and reopen it, these will be gone. But I can name this white coffee, and then I'll just export it to the desktop. And here you can select what type of file you want. So the useful part about Illustrator is you can export everything as an SVG, and it'll be just scalable infinitely, I guess. But if for easier usage, I guess for Instagram, you could probably just do PNG. And you can go to the settings to tell it what type of PNG you want. Give it a transparent background or white background. This one shouldn't matter, but for the logos, you would want it to be transparent. Save settings and then export. And it has just exported this one, and it opened up on a. So that's what you have. And then I'll show you. If you go back, this is the new layer. If you go back to open up the logos. For the logos, it's basically the same. So if I wanted this wooden one, file, export selection, name this whatever you want. And for logos, depends on your usage, but logos it's usually nice to have them as SVG, so wherever you put them, you can scale them really well. And then for how you would change the background shape of this one. So I'm Control mouse or Alt mouse scroll wheel to zoom in and out. So here I can select on this background and basically make a rectangle. And instead of deleting it, you can just sort of leave. I'm just gonna open this up, find this, so hide the ellipse, and this is your rectangle. Just like put it here, and then arrange send to back or this hotkey. And then the way you like want to get it to the center, to be centered, is up here in align. You can highlight this and highlight this, and you want them to be horizontally aligned and vertically aligned. So align to key object, and it folds the key object. So you want the key object is the one that will stay in place, and this is what you want because you want the cube, you want the square to move where this is. You don't want this to move in this case. So I just press that, and it'll center for you. And that's how you get a square background. Yeah, and you can also edit this however you want later on. And it's also Control Z, Control Shift Z to undo and redo.